You know when you picture someone getting rich, what comes to mind? Probably flashy cars, designer clothes, right? But what if I told you that real wealth is, well, it's a lot quieter than that? What if the people who are genuinely building it don't even feel rich? So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the subtle, almost invisible signs that you're on the right track, even if your bank account isn't screaming it at you just yet.
Yeah, social media, movies, everything tells us that wealth is loud and visible. But the reality of building it, honestly, it's kind of boring. It's the little things. It's the feeling of skipping an impulse buy you know you don't need. It's setting up your automatic savings and just letting it run. It's saying no to that expensive dinner with friends because it's not in the budget. It doesn't feel like you won the lottery. It feels like a series of small, consistent, and sometimes, kind of difficult choices.
And this quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of it. Getting wealthy isn't some feeling you just wait to arrive. It's a result that you create by acting wealthy long before the money actually shows up. Think of it like you're building the container, the framework for all that wealth to eventually flow into. So let's look at the first signs that you're building it right.
All right, first up, let's talk about the foundation. These are the non-negotiable habits, the bedrock that creates a quiet but incredibly powerful momentum for your finances.
The first, and I mean the most crucial sign, you live below your means. Simple as that. You have consciously created a gap between what you earn and what you spend. And that gap isn't just money. It's options. It's freedom. It is the raw material for building your entire financial future.
And this just goes to show you that income is not the deciding factor. Take a look. Rich Richard and Poor Peter, they earn the exact same salary, but their outcomes, they're worlds apart. Richard creates a $20,000 surplus that he can put to work for him. Peter, on the other hand, creates a deficit, and he funds it with debt. He might look successful on the outside, but inside, he is stressed. That gap is literally the difference between financial peace and financial anxiety.
Okay, the next sign is a massive mental shift. You've stopped chasing those get-rich-quick schemes. You're not looking for the next hot stock or crypto coin. Instead, you've started thinking in decades, not days. You get it. You understand that the real magic is the slow, steady, relentless power of compound growth.
And you can see the two approaches right here. Richard's strategy is almost boringly simple. $500 a month into an index fund every single month, no matter what the market is doing. Peter is the opposite. He's always chasing the next shiny object, day trading, crypto, a new side hustle every week. He never stays in one place long enough for anything to actually work. Richard is the turtle, and Peter, well, he's the hare. And the result of that boring strategy? It is staggering. Look at this. Richard's consistent contributions of $120,000 grew into $350,000. That extra $230,000, that's the reward for his patience. That's the magic of compounding made real. If you're focused on that long-term horizon, you're already doing what most people just won't do.
Now this one is huge. You have a financial buffer, an emergency fund. It's that money in the bank that doesn't have a specific job. It's just there. While other people are showing off their new purchases, you've built something so much more valuable: peace of mind. An unexpected car repair is now just an inconvenience, not a full-blown crisis.
And hey, if you need a little validation, get this. If you have saved just 3 to 6 months of living expenses, you are in a more secure financial position than 75% of Americans. Just let that sink in for a second. That quiet little buffer you've built for yourself, it puts you in an elite category of financial stability.
So, okay, you've built a foundation. That's fantastic, seriously. But the mechanics, the numbers, that's only half the battle. The real acceleration, the part where things really start to take off, happens when your mindset about money begins to change. Let's dive into that next.
All right, let's shift gears and talk about mindset. We're moving beyond your bank account and into your head, because the psychological shifts that happen when you start thinking like a wealthy person, well, they change everything.
Okay, this is a massive sign of financial maturity. You get a raise, a bonus, a promotion, and your first thought isn't, awesome, what new thing can I buy? Instead it's, okay, how much more of this can I invest? When that happens, you've successfully fought off one of the biggest wealth killers out there, lifestyle inflation.
We can actually call this lifestyle inflation immunity. And trust me, it's a financial superpower. Most people see a raise as permission to spend more, a bigger apartment, a fancier car. You see it as an opportunity to accelerate your path to freedom. You recognize that extra income isn't for upgrading your life today, it's for securing your life tomorrow.
Let's put some real numbers to this to see how powerful it is. When Rich Richard got a promotion that took his salary from $60,000 to $80,000, he only increased his annual spending by a modest $3,000. That means a whopping $32,000 of his income, old and new, went straight to his investments that year alone. By resisting that urge, Richard puts his wealth building on hyperdrive.
You know, early on in your financial journey, comparison it's a constant battle, isn't it? A friend buys a house, a coworker gets a new car, and you start wondering, am I falling behind? But a funny thing happens on the path to real wealth. You just stop caring. You become so focused on your own plan that you barely have time to look at anyone else's.
And that's why it is so powerful. You become immune to marketing, to peer pressure, to that fear of missing out. You start to realize that most of the wealth you see out there is really just debt in disguise. So when your friend buys that $60,000 truck, you don't feel envy. You genuinely hope it makes them happy because you know your own financial decisions are guided by your values, not by what everyone else is doing. When you're struggling financially, money dominates every single thought. It is exhausting. But as you build this quiet wealth, a beautiful thing happens. Money stops being the main character in your life story. It becomes a supporting actor, a system that just works reliably in the background, freeing up your mind for what actually matters.
And just look at the difference this makes in your mental energy. Because Richard has automated his finances, his mind is free. He can think about his family, his creative projects, his legacy. Peter, though, is still stuck in the weeds, constantly calculating, stressing, mentally exhausted by money. That shift from financial survival mode to financial background noise, that is a profound sign of progress.
Okay, so we've covered the habits and we've covered the mindset. Now for the final signs, the ones that go beyond just dollars in a bank account and into what this is really all about, true freedom.
This, right here, is the ultimate destination. See, most people chase money, but the truly wealthy, they eventually start chasing time. If you've stopped glorifying the hustle and started craving quiet and space in your calendar, you are becoming wealthy in a way that money alone can never measure. You realize money is just a tool, and its best use is to buy back your most precious, non-renewable resource, your time. I mean, just look at their calendars. Richard pays for a house cleaner to buy back a few hours a week that he can spend with his kids. His calendar has white space just to think and rest. Peter, on the other hand, does everything himself to save a few bucks. His calendar is packed. He feels busy, sure, but he's actually time poor and totally exhausted. Using money to buy back time is a true wealth move.
And here it is, the final sign. You stop blaming external factors, the economy, your boss, your bad luck. You take radical ownership of your financial reality. You focus only on what you can control, and you learn to ignore all the noise you can't.
This simple reframing of your language is incredibly powerful. Think about it. I can't is a statement of helplessness. It takes your power away. But that's not a priority for me right now. That is a statement of control. It acknowledges that you could choose to afford it, but you are intentionally directing your resources toward more important goals. This mindset puts you firmly in the driver's seat of your life.
So, as we wrap all this up, I want you to remember this. Real wealth isn't built in the spotlight. It's not for an audience. It's built in the quiet moments. That extra $100 you invested instead of spent, that no you said that kept you on budget, that book you read instead of scrolling on your phone. These are the small, unseen decisions that compound over time into a life of genuine freedom.
And so I'll leave you with this question. Our culture is screaming at us that wealth should be loud and flashy and obvious. But as we've seen, it's almost always the opposite. It's subtle, it's internal, and it's quiet. So are you listening for the right signs in your own life? Are you celebrating these quiet wins? Because if it doesn't quite feel like you're getting rich yet, well, chances are you're doing it exactly right.